After finally succeeding in accessing this abandoned paper mill in England, we were amazed at what we found in the large facility. This place was truly frozen in time, with everything from the untouched office spaces to the gigantic rusting machinery. In our longest cinematic documentary yet, we take you through everything the structure has to offer in intense detail so you can understand why this abandonment is so special. The property is located in some stunning scenery that we have had the chance to visit numerous times. On our first visit over a year ago, we only managed to access the kitchens for the huge site. This was before a patrolling security guard came too close for comfort and we decided to call it a day. Now, 1 year forwards, we were back and believed to have made it inside for good. However, the colourful cylindrical machines we had found didn't lead to any other parts of the site, so we could only enjoy a teaser for the stunning abandonment to come. It was clear that virtually everything remained in the paper mill since closure, so we didn't wait long before another revisit with some extra hope that this might be the successful trip. Finally, we were in and desperate to experience the incredible situation the building has been left in. Already we had entered a massive dark industrial hall with a ton of machinery sat gathering dust.
This computer isn't on, but you can see when it got turned off what it was last on. Emails, I think. So odd. You can tell this place is completely frozen in time.
Amazingly, this colossus of a room is mainly just for one machine. It was a giant paper roller which must have cost millions, so it is crazy it has been left, but realistically something this size can't fit in a moving truck. There are more of these machines throughout the factory, but this one was a new addition, so it was probably more efficient than the others. You can still see all the rollers where the paper would have been passed through. The control panels for the huge beasts stay untainted as well, and we even found the paper itself that had never reached the market. Underneath this floor was another dark maze of machinery. Soon enough we found one smaller room that completely fascinated us.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Amidst these laboratories we could confirm that this explore was going to be one we would remember for a long time to come. All the flasks, tubes and computers perched on the desks as though all the workers had been forced to flee the property at once. It is likely that scientists would have manufactured the chemicals that go into the paper here. Although this time capsule was very impressive, it was also covered in mould, and due to the fact we knew there was so much more to see, we headed away from the darkness. We found ourselves in the exporting warehouse, where the packaged up paper would be ready to be transported away from the factory to any desiring buyers. Stacks and stacks of paper were still here, which is bizarre because even if the mill was closing, companies would tend to get rid of the stock for a cheaper price to make the most money they can. Another large space contained the starting ingredients for the paper, wood pulp, which also had been left in its raw material. The paper mill's history traces back to the 1820s at a completely different factory. We will call it Mill A. Here, the abandoned factory's creator was working and was promoted to manager quickly. When the owner of the factory died, he was permitted to become the company's new owner in the 1860s. The company was passed through generations of sons, with Mill A boasting 200 staff, which eventually rose to over 1,000. In the early 1920s, the family owners had enough money to build another facility, Mill B, that we are exploring now. The business boomed particularly from Mill B, and it provided more income than the older factory, Mill A, which closed at the end of the 20th century. This helped create an extra 60 jobs at Mill B, but that wasn't enough to save it. Mill B's output also began to drop dramatically, and its successful prime was clearly over. Suddenly, in early 2000s, the property was forced to shut with fee issues, which resulted in the overnight closure and the reason why everything appears trapped in an alternate time period. Now we have covered that history lesson, we can get back to the exploration, which is only just getting started. As you can see, the decay is prominent after the buildings have suffered a vast amount of water damage. In this vibrant hole, the machinery was used to mash up the wood pulp and bleach it, so it gains the crisp white colour we associate with paper. The decay merged with the rust on the pulp mashers was stunning and highly photogenic. Furthermore, the room itself was huge, so there was many machines, contributing to the high profits the factory made in its golden days. already noticed earlier in the video, but throughout the site there are many workers' locker rooms to be seen. Because the paper mill was open before page 3 of magazines was abolished, nearly every locker was crammed with indecent images that we had to pixelate. It was very strange to see, as this wouldn't be allowed anymore. The industrial deterioration continued as we made our way downwards in the factory, which was built in a valley. We think the reason Urbexers like us are attracted to this spot is because of the colourful walls contrasted to the rusting machinery. Through a pipe-surrounded corridor we could make out a humongous room, and we couldn't believe our eyes when we saw what lay amidst it. Here we found the other 2 paper roller machines, combining with the new one we found at the beginning of the Explorer to make 3. These 2 were much older, and because of the natural light emanating down from the skylights, are suffering from extreme decay. That didn't bother us though, because as the room was originally white, the dark green moss created beautiful scenes, and this room is definitely in my top 3 we have ever seen. There was also an alien-sounding hum caused by the rusting fans that still whirled in the wind. We explored the paper mill in the correct order. After the pulp mashers we found in the previous hall, the bleached crushed pulp would face these colossal machines that would roll it out into paper. Away from the industry side of the factory, the facility also contains many offices for workers. After the overnight closure, everything remained in these rooms, including a shed load of paperwork and blueprints. It appeared that the workers who claimed specific offices as their own didn't have time to collect their personal items from the property, as there were many family photos that would have been kept close to them during their work. Hospital curtains was a surprising find in one of the hallways, and we wondered why and how they'd got here. Soon enough it became clear, as it would make sense for a 24/7 manned factory to have a medical room in case of any injuries. Medicine and needles still remained at the scene, needed quickly for any harmful scenarios that occurred on the daily. Another necessary area was a canteen for the workers to eat in. We found that in the depths of another industrial space, so the workers must have eaten with mechanical sounds all around them. Nowadays, the benches hold the additional weight of dust rather than workers. Following the rolling out of the paper, the large blue machines in this room would put it into bound rolls, then it would be ready for whatever size it was needed for. The multiple skylights was causing an extensive amount of noticeable deterioration, like the huge puddles and peeling paint on the walls. 3 forklift trucks had obviously been parked up ready for the next working day. This never happened, and now it appears that they are waiting to be documented. Some partitioned rooms were made for the packaging of the paper. Plastered all over different sized stickers and envelopes was the company's logo. The rolls that were ready to be shipped off were in storage cabinets, emphasising the loss of produce the company endured upon closure. Even though there is more to see still, we are certain it makes sense why we visited this site 3 times to crack it. One of the things we love about this hobby is the determination and resilience you feel to get into an abandoned spot to document it, no matter how challenging it might be. We had dreamed of entering this site one day, and it was awesome to finally do it with no problems. The reason the paper mill took us so long to do is because of the security team on it. It appears that they cranked down due to a robbery from the site where parts of machinery was stolen. Therefore the site is very secure, but not completely locked down. Although the paring mill that also closed around the same time was quickly demolished and made into housing, this site appears to have no plans that are coming true. It has been left to rot, maybe because of its isolated location. Meanwhile, we were busy looking for a targeted section of the building. We believe it is somewhere up high, which is why we are entering the roof space, but it isn't here in the end. Later on we found it, knowing that we must be in the right spot because of the wooden furnishings. This section of the building is the offices for what we would call the higher ranked workers, like the manager and their associates. As it is hidden away from the rest of the site, parts of it have been completely neglected from any form of vandalism. Another reason for this could be the fact that someone has boarded up the doors to the offices. However, over time they have opened up, showcasing all the remnants on the interior. When we say everything left on our videos, we feel a little wrong doing so after experiencing this abandoned site. There was such an abundance of items in the offices that it was hard to walk around and explore them. Complete with an old typewriter on the table, this boardroom would be where the heart of all decisions involving the paper mill were made. It looks as if a meeting occurred minutes earlier. The poshness of these rooms contrasted so much from the other offices we had already seen in the factory, which shows how wide the gap was between classes back then, and still is now. After 5 hours, we'd seen all the facility had to offer and we were ready to leave. Industrial abandonment like this is rare in the UK, and we don't know how long it will be before we encounter a site anything close to this in terms of the decay and items remaining. We hope you enjoyed coming along. Remember to subscribe and follow us on our social media in the description.